Okay, nice to see a few familiar faces. Um, Mind you, there's not so many faces to be seen. Uh, anyway, I'll do the little introductory chant, paying respects to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha as a refuge. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham dhanam sangham namasami. Welcome everybody. A few of you have sat with me before and know what I'm going to say, because another familiar face. And hi, and I basically say the same thing, because this to me is the most important part of practicing. We tend to exchange belief values. We come to Buddhism, we look at Buddhism, we read about Buddhism, we hear various people talking about Buddhism, and we make it another collection of concepts. Things we have to do, things we have to achieve, lists we need to complete, to go through. We need to do this, do that. We strive to become enlightened, to get awakening. But Buddhism is about letting go. It's not about becoming, because if you look at the fundamentals of anicca, dukkha, anatta, there is no self. There is no permanent self. We create this illusion of a self, but it's made up in the mind. It's made up through our conditioning. They're invented selves. It's not that we disappear when we start to see through that illusion, but we start to see the way things are. So instead of trying to get something, trying to become a good meditator, trying to, maybe if you're in the Zen thing, trying to solve a koan, trying to perfect my anapanasati or my samatha or my vipassana practice. Instead of trying to perfect my mindfulness in movement, walking slowly, doing things slowly. But the problem is we tend to do them self-consciously, as in, I am walking slowly. I am lifting this cup of tea. And we can hone this down to a really quite advanced state of I am doing this, of being self-conscious. But this isn't necessarily mindfulness. This is self-consciousness. Now, why would we do these practices? I made up this little analogy of somebody wanting to get to the other side of the valley, and the only way is to get a rope across and learn to walk on a tightrope. So after a lot of practice, learning to walk on a tightrope, becoming extremely skilled at this, even doing handstands, standing on one leg, but forgetting why you started off on this journey. Is it to become an expert tightrope walker? Or is it to get to the other side of the valley, or the other shore, they would say in Buddhism? And oftentimes people are impressed by this, impressed by somebody who appears to meditate really well. But look, what is all this about? These techniques are sort of opportunities or doors enabling us to see that there is a place that is naturally at peace prior to the thinking, conditioned mind. This place is not blown around like a leaf in the wind. In a way, you could say it is awakened, but it's not. We can't get awakened. We are already awakened, but we've shrouded this in this selfhood, in this ego, in this mask. So getting to see the way things are from that place of awareness, just noticing, just through this practice of being mindful, but not grasping that mindfulness, not becoming the breath or the feelings, but noticing how the mind ceases, settles down when we are aware. Getting to know that, getting to trust it. It takes time to trust it because we're conditioned not to trust it. We're conditioned to do, to become, to get rid of. But the more we notice how it is when there is a letting go, and I say when there is a letting go because we cannot let go. People often say, just let go. We cannot let go because that's trying to fix the problem with the problem, trying to fix samsara with samsara, which is the mind world we create, this illusion. So getting to know that, getting to trust it, trusting it intuitively, not from an idea or a concept, just seeing, yeah, okay. From that place of true awareness, we can function probably much more smoothly. We don't attach to things. We're not rejecting in any way. But we don't believe that we need to get things from the outside to be content or happy. There is a completeness in this place of just being, that place of just being human. Using, so to speak, the energy in the body, adding a little bit more energy into the sitting posture, or the walking, or whatever we're doing, but not to get something, not to gain something, but just you'll find that it will increase your awareness, your mindfulness, your consciousness, your bare attention. Call it what you will. These are just labels, basically for the same thing. So I'll do the usual guided sweeping meditation, and I'll suggest we go to a certain part of the body. It's not about the body. We go to that part, say the fingers, and then withdraw, just noticing from that place of awareness, not going to the part and identifying with it, or thinking about it, or adjusting it, or projecting onto it. But it's getting to know that place. There can only be one thing in one place at one time. So when we are aware, there can only be awareness. Once the mind, the thinking mind, or the deluded mind is a better way to put it, kicks in again, then we're lost. That is just an illusion. But we believe in it because we spent most of our lives living that way, trusting it, not or dismissing our quiet mind because it seems like nothing. I'll fall apart if there's no self. What will happen? How can I function? How can I go to work tomorrow if there is nobody there? There's nobody there in the sense of the illusion that we create. There is just awareness that knows completely how to respond, knows how not to react. But as I say, we need to get to trust that because we've dismissed it. We avoid it. How do we avoid it? We're at home, it's quiet, we switch on the radio, we switch on the TV, we do anything to distract ourselves. Not that there's anything wrong with these things, but we start to see how we're using them for the wrong purpose. Of course, what's wrong with watching the TV or listening to the radio or whatever? But from that place of awareness, not from this lost addiction to distraction. Just look. We don't need to stop these things. Just look to see what's behind there. If things happen through the day, just something upsets you, notice how the feelings arise in the body. Don't grasp them with the mind. Let them stay as feelings. Never denying, repressing or suppressing. Just being open, completely open. Seeing, knowing what's going on. And functioning smoothly. So we'll do two periods of, say, 20, 25 minutes of sitting. I'll do the guided sweeping meditation on the first period. And the second period, I'll give the occasional reminder just to come back, because sometimes we just go off into our dream state and don't realize what's going on. We can even dream that we're meditating well. It's very delusive. It can be really deluding. I know that from experience. So sitting in a posture that's comfortable for you. Not everybody's body is allowing of a stiff, upright posture, but it's not important. It can be helpful to maintain that awareness, but if not, experiment some other way to help you to be aware. Ideally with your hands together, but of course, if you're used to sitting in the yogic type posture, hand posture, mudra on the knees. Again, ideally eyes slitted. A lot of people sit with them closed. It can be more easy to go off into a dream state with them closed. But if that's what you're used to practice, how you're used to practicing, do that. And just being aware of the body. So I'll ring the gong. So just being aware of the body from the tips of the toes to the top of the head. And just noticing the sensations, but not clinging to them or going out to them. Just noticing from that place of no-thingness or peace, or you could say from our intuitive nature. Noticing the breath, not following the breath, just noticing the gentle, normal breathing without attaching to it, commenting on it, just being aware from that place of peace. So becoming aware of the top of the head. Just noticing how the mind settles when we point our consciousness that way to the top of the head without projecting pictures. We're only interested in that place prior to the conditioned thinking mind. Which is always there if we only look, notice. So becoming aware of the back of the head and the sides of the head. Becoming aware of the ears. What happens when you turn your attention towards the ears? I cannot be aware of my ears, but I can notice how my mind is at peace. Or becoming aware of the forehead. And the temples. and the eyebrows, and the eyes. Now becoming aware of the nose and the nostrils. Whenever the mind wanders, just gently, without comment, without judgment, gently come back to a place of the body. Become aware of the lips and the mouth and the tongue. Becoming aware of the chin and the jaw and the cheeks of the face. Just noticing how the mind settles when we are aware. The body is here and now, and it cannot lie to us. The mind will always try to trick us. So let's just stay with the body, noticing how the mind settles in the present moment. So now becoming aware of the neck and the throat. Now bringing into your mindfulness, your consciousness, your awareness, the whole of the face, the whole of the head and the neck, and just noticing the heart mind, noticing how it's naturally settled at peace, not a vacuum, not dead, but aware. Now becoming aware of the shoulders, and the upper arms down from the shoulders down to the elbows. The backs of the arms, the sides of the arms, and the front of the arms. And becoming aware of the forearms from the elbows down to the wrists and the hands. Becoming aware of the back of the hands and the palms of the hands, the thumbs, the knuckles, the joints of the fingers, the tips of the fingers, and the fingernails. What happens to your mind when you look to be aware of the fingernails? If you don't project pictures, ideas, the mind can only cease in that place of awareness. This is the deluded thinking mind we're talking about. And bringing into your attention your hands, your fingers, your arms, your shoulders, your neck, the head, and the face. Just being aware from that place of awareness, not going out to the objects. Now becoming aware of your back, from the shoulders down the back, down through the shoulder blades, the sides of the trunk, the spine, the small of the back, the arch of the back, the coccyx, the buttocks, and the hips. Now bringing into your awareness, into that true awareness, the whole of your back, your hands, your arms, your shoulders, your neck, the face and the head. Just noticing how the heart-mind is when there is awareness. Now becoming aware of the chest, from the shoulders down through the rib cage, the lungs, the sides of the trunk, the diaphragm, the stomach, the belly, the solar plexus, the navel, intestines, down to the groin and the hips. So now bringing the whole of your body from the hips to the shoulders, the back, the front, the neck, the hands, the arms, the face and the head. Just being in that place of awareness There's nothing to gain here. There's nothing to get or become. There is just seeing our true nature, which is our refuge. That true awareness. Now becoming aware of the legs from the hips down, the legs to the knees, the top of the legs, the back of the legs, the sides of the legs. And becoming aware of the legs from the knees down to the ankles and the feet. Becoming aware of the top of the feet, the soles of the feet, the heels, the arches of the feet, the balls of the feet, the toes, the joints of the toes, the tips of the toes, and the toenails. Now being aware of the whole of the body from the tips of the toes to the top of the head. Not identifying, just lightly aware, not grasping, not projecting. and becoming aware of the breath. As I said before, not following the breath, just being aware from that place of peace. That place of non-attachment. So I'll ring the bell in a short while, but please do not think in terms of the meditation has come to an end. Always being aware, always being or coming from that place of awareness, not going out and attaching. So there really is no reason why we can't get to know this place, what I think of as the mind, the heart mind, or the heart of the mind, which is before our conditioning kicks in, which is naturally at peace. So whether we're sitting in a gathering, although it's a virtual gathering like this, or going about our daily business, there really is no difference. Everything is an opportunity. We can be aware. We can be with our bodies or a particular part of the body, not, as I've said, not focusing on the part of the body, but just withdrawing a little bit, coming back a little bit. So there's that awareness, say, if you're standing, of the feet, but you can look around, you can hear, you can see, you can talk, you can think, but from a place of clarity, of a place of present moment awareness, which is not lost in our views and opinions, our judgments of good or bad, right or wrong. This is not about sitting meditating in darkness, so to speak, with nothing going on. It's about awareness. Awareness is what contains everything, but awareness is space. It's really got nothing to do with us. As soon as us or we intervene, we've in a sense corrupted it, because it's self again. It's from our conditioning. So just that natural letting go. Again, I repeat, we cannot let go, but there is a letting go. We cannot become awakened, but there is awakening when we are present and notice how our mind, how our heart mind is naturally, our true nature, our Buddha nature, if you want to use that term, our true awareness, our true mindfulness, our bare attention. And this allows us to, instead of grasping the techniques and teachings, we can see them from a place of awareness, so they can germinate, they can flourish. Seeing these different ideas as seeds. So when the conditions are right, they will germinate, and suddenly things will make sense, as probably most of you have realized after looking at particular books or teachings or sutras, and different things jump out to you. They were there before. But perhaps there's a bit more awareness of the way things are. And the way things are is being at peace without projecting our views and opinions onto things. And we don't need to get anything. We don't need to become enlightened. We cannot become enlightened. We cannot be awakened. We are already, if we only look, if we only pay attention to our true nature, to our Buddha nature. We tend not to believe that because we're told there's a lot of things to do. A lot of things to do before we awaken. But if we look right now, we can see right now from that place of true awareness, there is awakenedness. So we'll sit another period, say 20 minutes. As I say, I'll just give the occasional reminder because our minds will wander, because that's the nature of the mind. It's divisive by nature. It's not a problem. You do not need to make the thoughts quieten down. They will quieten down if we are aware in the present moment. And then after that, I really invite questions or comments or whatever afterwards. Okay. So when the mind wanders, just gently come back to the whole of the body, or a particular part of the body, or the breath, or the listening, the sound of silence. Never beating yourself up. Just gently come back and notice that place of awareness. So again, just re-establishing the awareness when the mind carries us away, just to come back. Using the body, a particular part of the body, or the whole of the body, or the breath, or the sound of silence. Just being that awareness. Noticing feelings in the body, maybe of a little bit of discomfort through sitting this long. Don't interfere with those feelings, just see them clearly without rejecting or maybe they'll subside. If we try and get rid of them, they won't. They'll just come back. If it's really uncomfortable, just move. But move with awareness instead of reacting, just moving. But look at the feelings and then move from responsiveness, not reactiveness. Just experimenting with different parts of the body, which is most easiest to anchor the mind, so to speak, to be in our awareness without going out to it, attaching to it. For me, it's the hands, or the knees, or the breath, or the sound of silence. Don't stick to one thing. Experiment, always looking without analyzing. So does anybody have any questions or comments or insights? Yes, TK, I don't know.
Yes, my name's Tanya. You mentioned that if we had a little bit of discomfort in the body, that it's perfectly all right to move. But then you said to respond and not react, and I'm just wondering what the difference is between responding and reacting.
Yeah. I mean, it could be, you feel a pain in the knee if you're sitting on the ground or sitting. There's discomfort, so immediately we react to it. We just move without thinking. What I'm suggesting is that we just look at that for a little bit. Just look at that feeling, and that's responding. And then we respond accordingly. We move if that's the best thing to do. But instead of just reacting to it, which is generally how we tend to live, even when somebody says something that upsets us, we react instead of first, how is that? Just looking, and then respond. Does that clarify that at all?
Yeah. So can I just give you my take on it? So it's sort of taking a moment to become aware. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, also, it's very good to practice is to punctuate your life. So because we're busy doing this, we're busy doing that. We do one thing, and then before we go to the next thing, just stop for a fraction of a second or longer. But have these little spaces between things which can help us to re-establish our awareness and notice that, the mind is actually at peace. But because we're so busily reacting and doing and running here and running there, we can't see this. We can't notice that place. And that really is what makes the difference. That's really the awakening process, awakening to the present moment, being that. Yeah?
Yeah, no, that's wonderfully clear. Thank you very much.
Great, good.
Thank you.
I've just got a chat here. I'll see what it says. A couple of people have had to leave early. So does that, obviously I never know if I'm making sense to others, because I try and talk very much from my own experience, my own practice over many years. Not that that makes any difference, because if one practices, if one is aware, gets to know that on their first sitting, it can be more valuable than 10 years of grasping and trying to become. So I try and stick to what I know from my own practice. Or practice is a strange word, actually, because it's just a way of life. It's just being aware. When I fold up the computer after this class, it's just this light awareness. When I start to see my deluded mind starts to take over again, go off into dreams, I notice. And in that moment of noticing, there is a re-establishing of awareness. There's a returning to that place of awareness that can function smoothly. It can think. But the difference in thinking is normally we're just carried away by incessant thoughts, one after another, linking to each other. But the difference from that place of awareness is we can think, and then the thought finishes. It doesn't link to the next thought. We can think, we can plan, but we're not carried away. We're not grasped by Mara of trying to become or avoiding. Is it normal to see a vision in meditation? It can be. It can be quite normal. But I would suggest it's not particularly helpful to attach to the vision. The vision might happen. You can see it. You can experience it. But it is just a vision. It's mind created. So, yeah, there's a vision. So, know it from that place of awareness. But I wouldn't advocate following that vision, making something great of it. Just be, just come back, just know that vision from that place of clarity. And don't attach to it. You cannot not attach, but through being present and aware, there is an automatic attachment. I hope that clarifies a little bit, Claudia. I need to look at that question again. How can we become sure we have accessed Buddha nature? We can be the Buddha nature. We cannot access it. We can just be it, and that being is completely natural. And if sometimes we get a little bit carried away and think, yes, I'm feeling that I'm understanding, I'm awakening, and then somebody treads on our foot or tells us off or insults us. How is it then? How do we react then? Reminds me of a little story somebody told me years ago of somebody sitting on a retreat in Thailand, a laywoman, and she had this so-called insight and believed she was awakened. So she went to the Ajahn and said, you know, I've awakened and I would like to repay you in some way to get you something. So he says, no, there's no need. No, I really want to get you something. So, okay then, I want a tin of sweetened milk. So she said, oh, just a tin of sweetened milk. So off she goes, she gets a tin of sweetened milk, comes back, and offers it to him. And he says, "What's this? This make is no good. It's not my favourite make." And she goes, "What are you talking about? You're so ungrateful." And he says, "Is that the response of an enlightened person?" I don't know if that makes any sense to you. But, you know, we see in our ordinary daily life how we're blown around by things. And that is a true teaching saying, okay, now be aware. Now be the Buddha, knowing the Dhamma. Not I am the Buddha, knowing the Dhamma. The Buddha being the one who knows the Dhamma the way it is. So it's not difficult to see when you're having yourself on if you're paying attention, because you'll soon fall apart. What's this next one? Yeah, that's from Francis. Yes, it's an example that she hadn't reached. Not that you can reach Buddha nature. We are Buddha nature. It's just so-called clearing our illusions and delusions, our veils away, or getting rid of the dust in our eyes, as they say traditionally. Okay, thank you. From Francis. Okay. So I think the class is probably just coming to an end. I really hope that we turn this type of special meeting, that we cannot live like this all the time. But it's about, these meetings is about taking it into our ordinary everyday life from moment to moment, knowing that there's nothing to gain here. And that's probably the difficulty, because there's no evident, I'm awakened, I'm enlightened. If that does occur to you, you've obviously slipped off the path down a rabbit hole or a pit. So by bringing it, using this in a, for want of a better way to put it, these classes to build that foundation of awareness, then the true house can be put together brick by brick, awareness by awareness, to living in peace, in true contentment, in not striving, not adding to the confusion of the world, which is all pretty obvious at the moment. We cannot solve that, but we can solve, so to speak, our own problems of being separate from the way it is. So please don't forget to remember to come back to the present moment and just notice, and the work will happen. It's not for us. It's about getting out the way and we will heal, so to speak. Okay. Take care, everyone.